Sky is falling in Los Angeles. Good morning and welcome back. If y'all are coming back, this is your first time. Welcome to the journey. Hop on in. Let's get into it. The Los Angeles Lakers had a really interesting loss last night to the Golden State Warriors. They lost 119 to 109, so a 10-point loss in a game where Luka Doncic almost had a 43-point triple double. Austin Reeves had a fair game for himself. He had 26 points and 9 assists, but he wasn't. It's a little bit misleading. He had a really good fourth quarter when they were trying to play catch up and during the meat of the game, during the first 3 quarters, he has some questionable plays at times, so definitely not his best game, but statistically on paper, it doesn't look too bad. But I've seen a lot of reactionary posts. It's the first game of the season, so everyone's itchy. Everyone wants to get off this hot takes, and they wanna say the sky's falling, but, what I'm witnessing here, it doesn't I'm not understanding the catastrophe right now. The Los Angeles Lakers lost by 10 in a game that they missed 12 free throws. Like, I mean, this is literally just a numbers game. Like, it's not like I mean, they could have executed better. Absolutely. Could they have better shot making on the perimeter? Absolutely. Could they have, conceded the switch on to Jimmy Butler with the small? Could they have done that less? Sure. But that's not why they lost, and it's like all those things in conjunction are why they lost, but none of these are like overwhelming like that's like, "Oh, yeah, this is gonna kill their season." The team has been able to play together at full strength 2 games, and one of those was a preseason game. That's because Luka had, of course, his European, basketball commitment that he did over the summer, so they rested him, and then you still don't have LeBron James, and everyone's like, "Oh, what's LeBron doing on the bench?" And he's just chilling. He's everyone's just upset about LeBron on the bench, and he's just chilling like this the whole game. I just don't get this whole skies falling premise. I feel like, yeah, it was a bad game, but it's also game 1 of 82, and there's plenty of positive things to look DeAndre Ayton, people are tearing him apart. He's definitely a better basketball player than we saw out of him last night when I'm recording this. He is. He just simply is. It was a bad matchup. He went against a pair of really good post defenders in Al Horford and Draymond Green. This is a bad matchup having a small lineup where he's forced to play more on the perimeter defensively versus being able to be a true anchor center and being inside the paint. That's not saying, he's Rudy Gobert and like, oh, when he gets to be in the paint, he'll be some defensive, stopper, but he'll be more comfortable. He'll be in a more natural fit, and that's something that I think is important when you got these guys trying to build chemistry on the fly. And the others for the Los Angeles Lakers have really gotten beat. Have really gotten beat in the last 12 hours since the game ended. Um, Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, just a lot of what do they bring to the table, but I think the roster construction's intentional. You want these floor spacers, you want a reliable wing shooter in Rui Hachimura to keep defenses honest and allow Luka Doncic to get into the paint. Where on all 2-point shot attempts, Luka Doncic shot 15 for 17. And that's because he's getting to his spots and he has space to be able to create. And that's something that you can't take for granted. Rui shot 3 for 6 from threes. But that's also the only shots he took. He took 6 shots, all 6 of them were threes. That's not his normal shot diet. He likes mid ranges. He can finish around the rim. That's something we want to look into a little bit more. Feel like even without LeBron, he's been relegated into this catch and shoot role that he is definitely a better player than. And I think a lot of that is about having creators and being able to allow other people to go cook. I feel like a lot of Luca save us basketball versus Luca lead us and just play as a team. It was a lot of just Luca go cook. Luca go cook. Oh, that's Jimmy Butler. Go cook. Oh, that's Buddy Hield. Go cook. It was a lot of that action versus allowing him to just be a leader. Gabe Vincent, I like what he does for all intents and purposes. I just think it was not the greatest matchup for him, solely because he wasn't really given the opportunity to have the ball in his hands. And I think he didn't even get a shot attempt until his second stint in the game. And that's because in that starting role, you're not going to get that. You're not going to be afforded those opportunities. They need a 3-and-D player in that spot, and a guy who's going to stand in the corner, and a guy who's going to try on defense. That's what he did, and that's what you honestly expect out of him. I don't think this is some crazy game that's like, oh wow, he played awful. He did what he was supposed to. He ran the defensive coverages. They were wanting to switch on a Jimmy Butler when they ran the actions. That was intentional. They wanted to have Jimmy Butler play post basketball, and they said we're gonna let him win. It's a game of numbers. If he wants to sit here and take 12 dribbles against Gabe Vincent and then take a fadeaway midi, that's the game. Jimmy Butler hit him. They lost the game. I mean, that's how it works. That's the numbers game that they were playing. So you can't necessarily be upset about the result and Gabe Vincent getting cooked when that was the intention. That was the defensive scheme. They did that, and it just didn't have the results that they anticipated. And even with the scheme, there's some problems with it, of course, but I think for this roster, I think that's the best defensive scheme you're going to be able to come up with because simply there's not this defensive stopper, there's not this like strong defensive integrity that you can depend on to put around Luca and LeBron and Austin Reeves. You're gonna need guys who everyone's gonna have to chip in and put all hands on deck, and you're gonna have to have grit. You're gonna have to fight. You're gonna have to fight for it, and that's what I loved out of Marcus Smart. I see people they were concerned about Marcus Smart, and they were saying he had a really bad game yesterday. Based out of what I saw out of Marcus Smart, I love what I saw. Um, he's definitely still has it in the tank. Is he the defensive player of the year he once was? No, he's still a really good. He's a positive contributing basketball player. He made all three shots that he took inside of the 3-point line. He missed his two threes. He made some free throws. He got up underneath some guys on defense. He, got a couple skirmishes. He got a tech, or no, not tech. He got a flagrant one, for doing a taekwondo move on Stephen Curry. Like he did Marcus Smart things. Um, so I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe I just had more realistic expectations for these guys coming into the season. Jared Vanderbilt. A lot of people are really concerned because he shot 0 for 4 in like 13 minutes that he played. What were you expecting Jared Vanderbilt to come in and do? He was willing to take open threes. He airballed one. He missed the other one. I think he just took two. I'm not sure. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm pretty sure he just took two. I remember one he did airball. I remember one he just missed. But he's willing to take them. I think you didn't lose this game because Jared Vanderbilt airballed 1 3 and he shot 0 for 4 from the field. Like I don't that's not why you lost this game. And they need the defensive versatility of a 6'9" switchable wing. And you really feel like the only problem I notice with it is that they're staggering him with Jackson Hayes, who also exclusively plays around the rim. I feel like if he was in the Gabe Vincent role, if you have Jared Vanderbilt starting, we have a center with genuine offensive talent, a guy who can hit mid range jumpers, a guy who can consistently hit floaters, um, things of that nature. It opens up the floor more for a guy like Jared Vanderbilt to kind of play, short corner, and just flow back and forth around the rim because you have a genuine offensive talent. But then when you're playing Jared Vanderbilt next to Jackson Hayes, it really shrinks the floor because they're not scared of either of those guys unless they're directly at the rim, and that's something that's going to be a problem. Something else that I really thought was interesting about the Jared Vanderbilt situation is I believe, out of all the rotation guys, he played the least amount of minutes. And I don't know if that's a staggering situation because he was with Hayes and JJ Redick looked at it and was like, hey, there's no shooting when they're on the court together. I feel like there's a really easy solution to that. I feel like if you have Gabe Vincent, Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia, and Jackson Hayes off the bench, like, and don't get me wrong, is that like some juggernaut of a bench unit? And are they gonna be running teams off the floor with their bench? No. But it also is competent though. That's a competent bench unit that you can have come in and bring some defense. They have some perimeter shooting. They're gonna have a little bit of playmaking between Marcus Smart and Jake LaRavia. And they're still gonna have some that verticality threat of Jackson Hayes. I feel like that makes more sense than having a bunch of guys who aren't great shooters come off the bench and Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia, and Jackson Hayes. That just doesn't make sense to me. And I feel like you get more out of Gabe Vincent. I feel like if I have a guy who's going to take one shot in the game, I'd rather it be Jared Vanderbilt instead of Gabe Vincent. So put Jared in that fifth spot where they're not getting those shot attempts and allow Gabe Vincent to come off the bench where he'll get a couple more shot attempts and shot opportunities, and he's undoubtedly the better shooter there. So allow him to get some more stuff going because as we saw in the preseason, he can rattle them off. He had 5 in a row. That's not something that's new with him. We've seen him be a streaky shooter, but that's some that I think they have to consider going forward. One of the biggest takeaways I didn't talk about this in my video last night was watching Luka Doncic play the forward position, like truly play a forward position versus being a guard. That was very interesting to me. There was a lot of times I saw Austin Reeves bring the ball up in favor of Luca, and then once they got to half court set, then they would get Luca the ball and they would start whatever action they were running. That was really interesting. I think it's really good to see Luca back in I think his natural position. and now they have him listed at 6'8" on the team website, so either he's growing or that's my thoughts. I don't see the sky falling. I don't see a team that's in desperate need of a stimulus or some sort of help at this point. I think this is a roster that you're gonna hold on to until LeBron gets back, and you're gonna continue being smart on the trade avenues and trying all the doors that are open and try and go forward from there. Dalton Connect didn't play. That's something else that I just thought about. That was kind of an interesting situation, but I don't disagree with it. I do think it's a little bit interesting considering he's gonna be one of your best trade assets. So now you're looking at it like, oh, he can't even crack our rotation, and our bench isn't good. Like that. Y'all let me know what you guys think. You guys let me know how this sounds, how this looks, how you guys feel about this video experience. Always trying to get stuff and make stuff better for you. Have a good evening. Peace out.